Do you dare to watch the full 88 moments where the survival instinct is pushed to the extreme?
Yeah.
In the world of venomous snakes, venom is not only a weapon, but also a symbol of formidable biological power. When the environment becomes fiercely competitive, the boundary between prey and conspecifics gradually becomes more fragile than ever. There is no mercy, only the cold law of nature operating in its own way. Let's get started now. King snake versus patch-nosed snake. The king snake quietly follows the patch-nosed snake, then suddenly lunges forward, biting tightly and preventing the prey from escaping. It does not need venom. Living alongside venomous snakes has allowed the king snake's body to develop resistance to certain toxins, which is also why it dares to risk its life hunting even its own kind. The snake begins swallowing from the head. The lower jaws separate and expand outward, each muscular contraction pulling the prey deeper into the body. Its torso visibly swells, curving to contain the large meal. A snake that consumes prey whole like this can remain full for many days, even an entire week.
The snake finished its meal. We watched it.
King snake versus ringneck snake. The king snake quietly moves through the leaf litter, still carrying its habit of actively hunting other snakes. But this time, it has stepped into the territory of a ringneck snake. The attack happens in a flash. The ringneck lunges forward, clamping down on the head and forcing the king snake's neck to fold against its body to control the direction of the bite. Once the head is locked, the king snake loses almost all ability to counterattack, its body left only with instinctive writhing. The ringneck does not need to constrict hard. Holding the head steady for long enough causes the opponent to weaken rapidly. In the world of snakes, whoever controls the head controls the entire fight. King snake versus rat snake. The king snake coils tightly around the rat snake on dry ground, each loop of its body gradually locking movement. Without venom, it constricts until the prey is weak enough, then begins swallowing from the head. One lesser-known detail is that the king snake's teeth curve slightly backward, helping prevent prey from slipping out during swallowing. Once this process begins, its body contracts and expands in segments, pulling the prey inward rather than pushing. This is a unique evolutionary advantage of these snake species. Red-bellied black snake versus brown snake. A red-bellied black snake slides close behind, pressuring a brown snake that is desperately trying to escape. Chased by a larger predator, the brown snake turns back to counterattack repeatedly, delivering bites in an attempt to create an opening to flee. But the red-bellied black snake does not retreat. It stays close, constricting each movement of its opponent. In nature, the red-bellied black snake is a specialist in hunting other snakes, including venomous ones. Thanks to its powerful body and venom capable of quickly subduing prey, eventually, the brown snake becomes exhausted. The hunt ends, and the pursuer becomes the victor. Coral snake versus rat snake. The coral snake encounters a rat snake moving slowly. Without hesitation, it strikes quickly, injects venom, then holds the tail and waits for the prey to weaken. The bite of a coral snake delivers neurotoxic venom that paralyzes prey. It does not need to swallow immediately. It often releases or loosely holds the prey to avoid counterattacks.
Numbers and crazy.
After a few adjustments, the coral snake begins repositioning to swallow its prey.
Respiratory failure leading to certain death if untreated.
It uses branches and the ground itself to align the prey's head. Swallowing from the head is an almost mandatory rule for snakes, especially when the prey is long and strong. Mole snake vs. honey badger. On dusty, dry ground, a mole snake tracking the scent of food suddenly encounters a honey badger. The fearless predator's aggressive instincts immediately surface.
Keeps on coming.
Honey badgers possess extremely thick, loose skin that reduces the effectiveness of bites, along with a higher tolerance to venom than most mammals. As a result, the snake's attacks are nearly useless. Without retreating, the honey badger repeatedly closes in, stomping and biting back. In panic, the snake lunges straight into the opponent's mouth. The challenger becomes the meal. A testament to the honey badger's rare and stubborn resilience. Cobra versus rat snake. A cobra detects a rat snake slithering past and immediately attacks. The first bite misses its mark, and the rat snake jerks backward, narrowly escaping. Without hesitation, the cobra delivers a second strike. This time, the fangs connect, and venom begins spreading rapidly through the prey's body. Cobra venom contains neurotoxins that act directly on the nervous system, causing muscle paralysis and respiratory failure within minutes. The rat snake weakens, losing the ability to resist. The cobra pins it down, adjusts its posture, and swallows it whole. In nature, a single delayed moment is enough to decide who lives and who dies. Mongoose versus cobra. On open ground, a mongoose faces a cobra directly in a battle where both have already been severely injured. They crawl across the ground, using their last remaining strength to confront the enemy. Mongooses are known for partial resistance to snake venom due to changes in their neural receptors. But this does not make them immortal. Well-placed bites can still cause severe damage. The cobra is badly injured by tearing bites, but the mongoose also collapses shortly afterward. Both die, leaving a rare outcome where no one truly wins. Cobra versus lizard. The long-snouted cobra is extremely aggressive, possessing neurotoxic venom capable of paralyzing prey within minutes. In this encounter, it targets a giant lizard moving slowly across the ground.
come this way.
The venom begins to take effect, but the lizard does not collapse immediately. Even as its body stiffens, it uses its strength to drag the snake across the road. Notably, many lizard species have nervous systems that tolerate venom better than expected. After several struggles to break free from the snake's jaws, the lizard suddenly escapes and flees. A rare outcome against such a dangerous predator. Cobra versus puff adder. On scorching hot ground, a Cape cobra encounters a puff adder, one of Africa's most dangerous ambush snakes. The cobra does not rush its attack. It keeps its distance, watching every small movement. The puff adder, with the fastest strike speed in the world and extremely potent necrotic venom, is a threat the cobra must respect. After a single warning strike, the cobra quickly retreats. Faced with a high-risk opponent, it has made the right choice. Malayan krait versus sunbeam snake. This rare footage captures a Malayan krait approaching and attacking a sunbeam snake. With extremely powerful neurotoxic venom, the predator attempts to bite and paralyze its opponent. But the sunbeam snake does not submit. It fights back fiercely, repeatedly twisting its body and tightly coiling around the krait's head, trying to block the fatal bite. Notably, the sunbeam snake shows greater venom tolerance than expected, a trait observed in some non-venomous snakes living alongside venomous species. The struggle drags on, both locked in a tense, life or death confrontation. King mantis versus small snake. A giant mantis actively lunges to attack a small snake, believing speed and razor-sharp forelegs will allow it to finish the prey. Repeated bites target the body, forcing the snake to coil defensively. But the snake does not counter with venom. It wraps its body tightly around the mantis's chest and neck, constricting rhythmically against such small prey. A single constriction is enough to crush bones in an instant. Rabbit versus snake. On the ground, a group of baby rabbits is being tightly coiled by a snake. The mother rabbit immediately rushes in to rescue her young. When the baby rabbits manage to escape, the mother does not retreat. She continues confronting the snake directly, repeatedly kicking and forcing it backward. The snake attempts to counterattack, circling to find a biting angle, but the rabbit is too aggressive. Few realize that rabbits can deliver kicks strong enough to injure small predators. Recognizing the growing risk, the snake chooses to retreat. In nature, parental instinct can sometimes turn prey into the dominant force. Indigo snake versus rat snake. The rat snake is tracking prey when it accidentally enters the territory of an indigo snake. The indigo snake launches a direct strike at the head, locking the prey in place within an instant. Body scent is one of the most recognizable cues that allows snakes to detect prey. The rat snake tries to slither away, but against the indigo snake's control, it has almost no chance. This species is famous for hunting other snakes, including venomous ones, thanks to its high immunity and extremely fast reflexes. The confrontation ends swiftly, and the intruder becomes the next meal. Cat versus python. Inside a dark den, a python suddenly lunges, targeting the young. Cats have extremely short neural reaction times, especially in their forelimbs, allowing them to evade and counterattack with precision at close range. The mother cat reacts almost instantly. Each swipe of her paw is aimed straight at the snake's head, repeatedly breaking its attack momentum. The rapid barrage of strikes stuns the snake, causing disorientation. When the head is struck repeatedly, the snake's nervous system becomes disrupted. Black mamba versus rat. The rat is far too reckless, believing the black mamba will not notice its presence. It plays and moves right in front of a cold-blooded predator. Even after a warning snap, it still fails to recognize the danger. A slight touch against its body causes the black mamba to turn almost instantly, delivering an extremely short and precise bite. Its neurotoxic venom acts rapidly, and the black mamba slowly swallows the rat, a silent moment following a deadly burst. Mulga snake versus snake. The mulga snake is one of the very few species that actively hunts and eats other snakes, including highly venomous ones. Unlike many other snakes, the mulga has a very high tolerance to venom, allowing it to hunt venomous snakes without excessive avoidance. This time, an unfortunate snake is quietly searching for food, unaware that it is about to cross into the mulga's hunting territory. The mulga has detected residual heat traces and chemical scent. When the snake slips into a burrow for shelter, the mulga immediately follows, drags the prey straight out of the hole, and begins swallowing it whole. Monitor lizard versus python. This time, it is a clash between two reptilian giants. The monitor lizard clamps its jaws into the python's body, biting and tearing repeatedly. The monitor lizard now holds the advantage. Its strength lies not in speed, but in maintaining constant pressure. Curved teeth and a short, powerful neck allow it to hold a bite for long periods without tiring. In contrast, the python needs space and time to coil. With its body restrained and under continuous pain, it struggles to generate a strong enough constriction. The one controlling the rhythm of the fight now holds complete dominance. Viper versus bird egg. A viper approaches a bird's nest and takes an egg away, with no struggle or resistance. For this venomous snake, eggs are a safe food source, requiring no constriction and no venom. The snake's jaws can expand to swallow the entire egg, after which specialized neck muscles crush the shell internally, retaining only the nutrients and expelling the collapsed shell. Such meals allow vipers to conserve maximum energy, a crucial strategy for predators that rely heavily on patience and ambush. Snake versus centipede. The snake and the centipede coil tightly together in a dangerous knot. The centipede presses toward the snake's head, focusing all attacks on vital nerve regions, while the snake struggles but cannot break free. In nature, centipedes hunt using venom that acts directly on the nervous system, powerful enough to paralyze even small vertebrates. Against small attackers, like centipedes, constriction is difficult, and once the head is targeted, the advantage nearly disappears. This is a confrontation where speed and positioning matter more than anything else. Eagle versus snake. The eagle and the snake clash at extremely close range. The snake lashes its body trying to strike, but the eagle quickly drives its talons down, locking both the head and the moving body. Once the head is controlled, the snake almost completely loses its ability to counterattack. In nature, eagles always prioritize controlling a snake's head first, as it is the only source of lethal bites or venom. Curved talons and immense gripping force allow them to hold prey heavier than their own body weight, even while the snake continues to struggle. Sometimes, the hunter unexpectedly changes roles when facing the right opponent. Cobra versus snake. Among damp, decaying leaves at the forest edge, a cobra moves slowly, its tongue constantly sampling the air for scent. When it encounters another snake, it raises its body and spreads its hood to threaten the unfortunate rival. The reaction almost instantaneous. The cobra strikes with precision, holding the prey before it can retreat. Cobra venom is not only lethal, but also rapidly paralyzes the nervous system, reducing the risk of being bitten in return. Segment by segment, the prey's body is pulled inward. For a cobra, such a meal can sustain hunting activity for many days, even an entire week. Chipmunk versus snake. A chipmunk approaches a small snake, not targeting the head, but biting repeatedly along the body. The snake raises its head, attempting to counterattack, but its weak strikes cannot penetrate the chipmunk's thick fur and tough skin. Pain causes the snake's body to contract, its reflexes slowing, each attempt to raise its head becoming less precise. For small animals like chipmunks, inflicting pain and exhausting the opponent is more important than delivering a quick kill. This rare moment shows that even the seemingly weak can turn the tables. Mongoose versus cobra. On open ground, a mongoose and a cobra charge at each other almost simultaneously. The cobra repeatedly raises its front body, and launches rapid strikes aimed at the opponent's head. In contrast, the mongoose stays low to the ground, constantly changing direction, darting in and out in an instant. The mongoose is not stronger than the snake, but its extremely fast neural reflexes allow it to avoid most lethal strikes. Thick fur and relatively loose skin also reduce the effectiveness of shallow bites. This confrontation is not about strength, but a contest of speed, precision, and damage tolerance. On the hot sand, the mongoose and the cobra remain entangled in a state of exhaustion. Strikes and bites are no longer precise, reduced to weak reflexes from two heavily injured bodies. Venom has already entered the system, and the mongoose has also lost significant blood after multiple hits. With both nervous and respiratory systems failing before either can retreat, the outcome is sealed. In the end, both the mongoose and the cobra lie motionless on the sand, closing a battle with no survivors. King snake vs. rattlesnake. A rattlesnake is following the scent of prey when it suddenly encounters a king snake. There is no chase. It attempts to slip past quietly. But that moment is enough for the king snake to strike. A precise bite locks the head instantly, with no wasted movement. Notably, king snakes possess serum proteins that neutralize rattlesnake venom, rendering it nearly ineffective. Grass snake versus frog. The grass snake silently glides along the water's surface, nearly blending into the gentle ripples. For this predator, water is not only a travel route, but also a risky banquet. Frogs surface to breathe or move briefly between grasses, and with just the slightest vibration, the grass snake pinpoints their location. Unlike many constrictors, grass snakes rely mainly on speed and jaw grip, especially effective against slippery, muscular prey like frogs. The strike produces almost no sound. This time, it quickly drags the prey onto land to feed. Grass snakes can swallow prey while their lungs function only partially, thanks to a trachea that shifts sideways during swallowing. Frogs have powerful convulsive reflexes, but this ironically causes them to lodge deeper into the snake's jaws. This protein-rich meal also carries risk, as a distended stomach significantly reduces the snake's hunting ability and reflexes afterward. It patiently maintains its bite, adjusting the position little by little until the prey aligns perfectly with its mouth.
Puma. On a dry hillside, a bear trespasses into the territory of a puma with the intention of taking her cub. The motherly instinct awakens, the puma hides her cub in a corner and then rushes out to fight the bear. She leaps up, striking repeatedly at the bear's head with swipes so fast that the naked eye can barely follow. The bear can only turn its head to dodge, unable to counterattack. In the most intense moment, the puma bites hard into the bear's head, a short but precise bite that forces the massive animal to roar and back away. Its gaze shifts from anger to fear, and finally it turns and runs down the slope. The battle ends with a lesson about the most terrifying weapon of all a mother's love. On a snow-covered hillside, the bear's hunting instinct rises again. It still targets the cub as usual, but things become much harder with the mother puma present. Thanks to its powerful neck and shoulders and lightning-fast reflexes, a puma's pounce and swipe can reach over 50 km/h at close range, 4 times faster than a human reaction. This striking rhythm forces even stronger animals like bears or wolves to back off when ambushed. Facing the mother puma's relentless ferocity, it begins to back away, then turns and flees, leaving deep footprints on the white snow. In nature, true strength does not lie in size, but in the courage to protect what one loves. Just setting foot on the hillside, the bear spots 2 puma cubs playing near the edge. It crouches low, circling like a curious intruder. From afar, the mother puma rushes in like an arrow. With maternal instinct, she must secure her cub's safety first, then move to attack the threat. The mother puma is not only fast, but also strategic. Instead of charging head-on, she pushes the bear away from her cubs before striking. Her solitary hunting nature makes every move efficient, forcing the bear into a defensive position. The bear is stronger, but its high center of gravity makes it clumsy on the sloping ground. After a few attacks from the puma, survival instinct forces it to climb a tree to avoid further blows. Once again, it learns the boundary of courage. Lion. A bear and a lion unexpectedly encounter each other on a pine hill. Both are rulers in their own domains, but their territorial instincts keep them from backing down, and the battle for dominance begins. The bear is heavier, its main attack relying on body weight and powerful swipes, but lacking accuracy. The lion, on the other hand, lighter, faster, and always aiming for weak spots. The contrast between brute strength and hunting skill makes the fight dangerously balanced. The continuous attacks cause the bear to lose control. The pain forces it to retreat and flee. In the natural world, muscular strength doesn't always overcome pure hunting instinct, and this time the lion taught the bear a lesson about true dominance. Bison. A bear appears on the vast grassland, its eyes following a herd of bison moving slowly. Its target is not the large adults, but the calves, the weakest link in the chain of protection. Hunger drives it to recklessly charge at stragglers, creating chaos within the herd.
It's right out in the middle of those bison. There's the calf.
The entire herd turns around black horns, slicing through the wind, turning the hunter into the hunted. But it doesn't give up and quietly ambushes by the cliff edge, waiting for the herd to pass to charge out and isolate a calf.
grizzly bear just took a bison.
An adult bison rushes in at terrifying speed, a thunderous strike, forcing the bear to release the calf and run away. The hunt ends with the lone power of the weak prevailing. Moose. By the river's edge, a bear quietly approaches a moose mother and her calf grazing on tender grass. Its eyes are cold and calculating, the calf, still clumsy, has no idea of the danger so close. A sudden movement from the bear startles the calf. It's not a true hunt, but an intimidation act by the forest's ruler. The moose mother charges at the bear, her whole body blazing with fury. In that instant, the bear's instinct shifts from attack to defense. It backs away, its massive body suddenly awkward before the speed and ferocity of the moose mother. Another threatening charge makes the bear truly hesitate, then turn and leave, carrying the wary look of one who knows it met a foe not to be trifled with. At the misty forest edge in the morning, a bear spots a moose mother leading two calves along a trail. Its hunting instinct awakens. It lowers its body eyes, locked on the awkward steps of the trailing calf. A rare chance and it won't miss it. Just one rustle, the moose mother spins around, and with only a few strides and a mighty head swing, she forces the bear to back off warily. Though it tries to approach again, the bear realizes this opponent is too steadfast. Pushed back a second time, it still doesn't give up and follows the prey into another area. But just one charge from the moose mother could break bones and end its life. Guided by survival instinct, it retreats before becoming prey to the one it intended to hunt. The confrontation ends once again. Maternal instinct triumphs over the instinct to hunt. Tiger. Amid the dim forest edge, a tiger quietly follows the scent of raw meat. It doesn't expect that from the opposite direction comes a massive bear. The tiger doesn't attack immediately. It crouches low, circles around, using the trees and terrain to stay hidden. The bear hasn't noticed yet, still digging through the soil for insects. Suddenly, the ground trembles slightly. The tiger leaps, startling the bear into retreat. The powerful pounce knocks the bear forward. The tiger clamps onto its neck teeth, sinking deep through thick fur, a perfectly calculated killing blow. In the wild, the strongest is not the one with the biggest muscles, but the one who knows the right moment to strike. Wolf. On the cold, wild plain, a bear stands tall against the evening wind. In the distance, gray shadows rush in a pack of wolves, swift, steady, and silent like living arrows. The bear keeps lunging and growling, but the wolves don't back down. They spread out encircling, tightening the ring around the lone giant. Their numbers give them the advantage, splitting the bear's sight and forcing it to spin, constantly losing control bit by bit. When it realizes it's outmatched by numbers and speed, the bear retreats, turning to flee. In the wild, courage isn't always wisdom. Sometimes survival is the real victory. Across a wide, windswept field, two massive bears bow over a bison carcass while a wolf pack quietly approaches from afar. The gray sky mirrors the tension of the imminent clash. The wolves know the bear is strong, but instinct drives them to test limits. The bear knows that one step back means losing both territory and dominance, so it stands firm not to eat, but to assert its throne. When its power flares, the wolves instantly hesitate. Strength comes not only from muscle, but from the unshakable certainty in eyes staring into danger. In the end, the wolves withdraw, leaving only silence and the bear's heavy breathing. In nature, the survivor is not the cruelest, but the one steadfast enough to not let go of what's theirs. In a cold forest, a pack of wolves plays around their pups. Laughter fades into the wind. Then from afar, a massive dark figure appears, turning joy into tension. The lone bear holds the advantage in size and strength. Its shoulder structure and claws allow it to control the space around it, making any intruder think twice. When the two sides meet, that difference defines the outcome. The wolves cannot win in direct combat, but they know how to avoid a pointless defeat. Survival lies in choice. In the cold forest, the bear keeps its territory, and the wolves retreat into the shadows. There is no loser, only the recognition of boundaries, the natural law between the solitary and the pack. Boar. The bear has just taken down a wild boar, but it's not safe yet. The weak cries of the prey might attract other predators. The bear must drag its catch up the slope, where thick trees and shade mean less chance of being discovered. It bites down, dragging the carcass up the dirt incline. Every step is a struggle with weight and terrain. The boar is still alive, twitching faintly, but too weak to move. The slope is steep, the soil loose, the prey slides back each time it's lifted. After several tries, the bear's breath grows heavy, forcing it to find another way. Then it lets go, abandoning the prize. In the wild, instinct doesn't always overcome reality. Preserving strength matters more than keeping a meal. That's how the strong survive long term. Deer. In the sparse forest, a bear and a herd of deer suddenly meet. The silent moment lasts less than a heartbeat. Then the herd bolts. The bear's instinct activates instantly. It picks the smallest target. The bear isn't fast, but each stride packs immense power. As the herd scatters by reflex, one fawn loses its rhythm and separates from its mother. The fawn tries to slip through a bush, but a broken branch blocks its path. In panic, it becomes trapped. The bear closes in, ending the hunt with a swift strike. In the green forest, there are no fair fights. Instinct picks the weak, and life continues on the fragile line between fast and slow, strong and weak. Bear. On the snow-covered ground, two polar bears suddenly charge at each other. No warnings, no signs, just instant reaction as both enter the same boundary. Snow flies everywhere, yet their strikes remain slow and measured. They seem more like opponents testing strength than enemies seeking to kill. The blows aren't meant to wound, but to decide who stays. Both understand that violence is a tool, not the goal. In this frozen land, victory needs no blood. For polar bears, conserving energy matters more than proving strength. Human. A cyclist explorer is preparing to depart when a sound echoes from behind. A bear appears, moving quickly along the forest trail. There's no clear sign of attack, just an instinctive reaction to a stranger in its territory. The bike speeds through the woods, wind slapping the rider's face, the pounding of the bear's steps behind tents as survival instinct races on. The bear keeps chasing relentless, showing no sign of giving up. Suddenly, a fallen branch blocks the path. He must abandon the bike. The bear keeps advancing as he runs another way, hiding behind a tree to break its line of sight. The encounter ends quickly, the line between passerby and predator separated by a single reflex. Hyenas. Hyenas, often seen as scavengers, are in fact survival masters. They are intelligent, fearless, and know how to seize even the smallest opportunity. Living in clans gives hyenas a strategic advantage. They move in sync probe cautiously, then surround prey or enemies with relentless pressure. Against a ruler like the lion, hyenas show no fear. They know that in nature, the power of the pack can outweigh absolute strength. And when the numbers gather, their laughter dares to challenge the roar of a lonely king. On a dry hillside, a lone lion finds itself in danger. Surrounding it is a pack of hyenas infamous for their group tactics and chilling laughter echoing across the plains. They move closer, threatening and testing, tightening the circle step by step. Hyenas understand that in numbers lies their only chance to make the Lion King retreat. But from afar, another lion appears. Just one ally is enough to let it face 20 hyenas at once. The balance of power shifts instantly. The hyenas retreat in terror, yet today's withdrawal is not the end. Between lions and hyenas, the feud never fades. It only quiets until the roar and the laughter rise again over the grasslands. And as expected this time, the lion switches roles from the harass to the hunter. It charges, aiming for a lone hyena, a swift and decisive strike that drops its prey instantly. A revenge driven by both instinct and resentment. Hyenas rely on teamwork. They move as one unit, growling and circling, making it hard for a lone lion to keep its kill. They lack brute strength, but they know how to exploit every moment the lion cannot strike back. Relentless bites break its rhythm. In the chaos, the Lion King is forced to abandon its prey. In nature, the strongest doesn't always win. Survival belongs to those who know when to retreat and fight another day. On the savannah, a lone hyena accidentally enters lion territory. That provocation triggers a lioness to strike, starting the hunt with a crushing bite to the hyena's thigh. A male lion joins in. Each attack is swift, precise, channeling the full force of an apex predator. The hyena struggles and growls in despair, but every effort fades before the lion's overwhelming power. In its final moment, the lion's jaws lock around its neck. Silence falls across the plains, a cold, inevitable end. Without a crown or throne, the lion still proves itself the undisputed ruler of the savannah. Crocodiles. Crocodiles are ambush predators, rarely leaving the water except at dusk or when the marshes dry out. On land, their heavy bodies slow them, but their bite force can still crush bone. Lions are the opposite, agile, proactive, able to read an opponent through the slightest gesture. As masters of dry ground, they always hold the initiative in encounters like this. And when the dry season comes, rivers shrink to muddy pools, blurring the boundary between land and water. Two rulers may cross paths at any moment. And this time, when the battleground no longer favors the crocodile, which side will prevail? By a parched riverbank, a crocodile basks in the sun, but calm vanishes as a pride of lions approaches. Two leaders advance wary eyes, fixed steps slow yet certain, testing their foe. The crocodile does not retreat. It snaps its jaws, launching powerful strikes, the same weapon that crushed countless lives underwater, now forcing lions to hesitate. The lion's strength is restrained by the reptile's armor-like skin, and a single bite could make any hunter reconsider. After tense minutes, the lions pull back. In the wild, some creatures don't need to flee to win, they just need to make others realize that one step closer means death. On a grassy riverbank, the pride spots a lone reptile and moves in, fast sparking a brutal assault. The lions don't rush in, they feint and test, gauging the reactions of their steel-skinned rival. The crocodile thrashes its heavy body, twisting in vain to escape the claws. Then the opening appears. A male lion lunges, sinking his fangs into the neck, the only unarmored spot. The pride piles on, biting from all sides. The crocodile collapses amid dust and roars. In the wild, even a second of weakness can turn a hunter into prey. Buffalo. On the African plains, the Cape buffalo is a symbol of strength and resilience. Its massive frame and axe-curved horns form a living fortress few can breach. Unlike most grazers, buffaloes don't flee from danger, they fight back. That instinct keeps even skilled hunters like lions wary. Within a herd, every member stands as part of a moving wall. When one is attacked, the rest circle to protect. But when left alone in the open savanna, can that strength hold against the most fearless predator alive? This time, a lone buffalo suddenly faces a lion. Instead of running, it counters with horn strikes sharp as blades, forcing the hunter to back off. A well-aimed hit could shatter bone, and survival instinct drives it to fight without fear. But lions never hunt alone. The pride spreads out, flanking from all sides, slowing the buffalo's counterattacks. Pushed to the edge, the buffalo plunges into the swamp, a place lions dread most. It's a smart move for survival. In nature, the will to live is the greatest strength of all. Hippos. Hippos are semi-aquatic giants with bodies weighing tons and skin thick as armor. Their jaws can crush bone, a single bite enough to kill a grown lion. But in the dry season, hippos must leave the water to graze, and that's when their slowness becomes a fatal weakness. On land, their heavy breaths and bulky bodies make them clumsy before swift predators. And with one slip, when instinct meets opportunity, would a lion ever pass that up? Across the scorched grasslands, lions lock eyes on a lone hippo wandering ahead. When close enough, a male lion leaps, clinging onto its massive back. The hippo collapses instantly, its weight preventing any counter. Powerful claws pin it down, followed by a crushing bite to the neck. The hippo falls still. Its resistance fades its body motionless. In the wild, even the strongest can fall. One moment of weakness is all it takes to switch roles between hunter and hunted. On a dry riverbed, a lone hippo stumbles upon a pride of waiting lions. Tension fills the air as hunting eyes fix on the giant. It growls circles, trying to intimidate with its size and gaping jaws. But the lions stay composed. They encircle tightly, moving with precision to disorient the beast. The hippo cannot focus on one attacker. It spins, threatens, defends, but chaos surrounds it. As the circle tightens, it is forced to retreat into the river. In the water, it's a giant. On land, it's no longer king. Zebras. Zebras have strong, muscular bodies built for explosive bursts in life or death moments. Their hind legs are deadly weapons. A single kick can make a predator retreat. Those black and white stripes beyond camouflage help them recognize one another and maintain formation to confuse attackers.
Is anything not difficult to be successful, even in the daylight?
Their wide field of vision lets them watch nearly all directions without turning, making them far more alert than most. But in open terrain, no matter how perfect their build, there are times they must face the top predator. On the plains, two lions close in on a terrified zebra. One clamps its jaws over the zebra's muzzle, then strikes with its forelegs, aiming to topple the prey. The second lion lunges from behind, pinning the flailing hind legs, blocking every escape. The zebra loses balance quickly. The crushing claws and iron bite steal its breath. Its eyes widen in final panic. Moments later, the plains fall silent. The hunt ends, leaving a harsh lesson in nature. Perfect teamwork is the deadliest weapon. Wildebeests. The wildebeest is one of the Serengeti's most iconic creatures. Solid frame, high shoulders, and hooked horns that form a natural shield. Its legs are built for distance, carrying it through endless migrations under heat and predators' watch. When cornered, it fears no challenger. A sudden charge can make even lions hesitate. But in the vast sea of grass, one moment of isolation can spark a life or death battle with the savanna's most patient hunter. On the yellow plains, a lion creeps closer, blending with the dry grass. When the wildebeest lifts its head, instinct commands the chase. Speed and endurance reach their limit. Short bursts define ambush hunters. The wildebeest runs fast and long, but slow directional reflexes become its fatal flaw. The lion's frontal strike cuts off escape. Its jaws lock on the throat, the vital point, and the prey weakens as air runs out. In nature's brutal cycle, every successful hunt proves the perfection of survival instinct. In the lion's world, speed isn't the only weapon, timing is. When the wildebeest grazes, one careless second can seal its fate. Then instinct strikes a flash of motion, pure precision. The gap closes too fast for the wildebeest to react. It barely lifts its head before the lion's jaws grip its neck. That moment captures the essence of survival, speed, accuracy, and power of the grassland's ruler. A perfect hunt, every move the product of millennia of evolution.
Lion. A lone lioness is cornered by an entire pack of African wild dogs. They move in an arc, launching constant pressure attacks that force the apex hunter to spin defensively, unable to strike back effectively. Despite being much smaller, wild dogs hold the advantage of endurance. They are the most successful hunters in Africa, with a success rate of over 80% thanks to extremely tight teamwork. But the lioness keeps her composure, gradually suppressing the pack's momentum. Realizing they can't bring her down, the wild dogs retreat. But this clash is only the beginning, because not long after they cross paths again. As the lioness turns her back to leave, the pack tails her closely. They strike directly, circling wide, before darting in to snap at her flank. The lioness knows their weakness lies in their reliance on group morale, so she must injure one badly enough to shake the entire pack. African wild dogs rely on group hunting tactics to compensate for their weaker individual strength, a necessity for survival in such a competitive ecosystem. Eventually, they recognize the risk is too high and pull back, proving that sometimes individual power outweighs the strength of a pack. Wildebeest. A herd of wildebeest charges the wild dogs, thrusting their horns into the leaders and forcing them to fall back. The dogs scatter, attempting to circle from both sides to retaliate. Wildebeest rely on group defense tactics, using their curved horns to form a protective ring around the herd. They continue their assault, but are eventually pushed back, unable to hold their formation. In the end, they flee, proving that numbers alone can't always overturn a disadvantage, and the chase is only beginning, leading to even more intense pursuits across the plains. The wild dogs chase the herd across the desert, accelerating to close the gap. The wildebeest scatter, trying to maintain a tight formation. African wild dogs use endurance hunting, able to maintain high speeds far longer than most prey, wearing them down over time. The dogs gradually isolate several individuals, splitting into smaller units to attack more efficiently. But one isolated wildebeest is about to face an even greater danger. The pack surrounds the lone wildebeest, lunging from every angle to block any escape route. This time, their separation tactic succeeds. On the savannah, a wildebeest that gets isolated from the herd has an extremely low chance of surviving a wild dog encirclement. It must rely solely on its horns and speed, its only weapons. The wildebeest fights back fiercely, but the pack refuses to relent. Eventually, the wild dogs bring it down, emphasizing the raw strength of collective persistence in nature. But if the opponent weren't a wildebeest, would they still dominate the battlefield? Hyena. As expected this time, their opponent is the savanna's master scavenger and cunning opportunist, the hyena. The wild dogs rush in, tearing aggressively and overwhelming them with sheer numbers. Hyenas are also effective pack hunters, but today only a few are wandering alone. With only 2 or 3 hyenas, far too few to challenge a true predator pack, victory becomes impossible. Outmatched and wary, they retreat, waiting for a chance to steal a kill later. Their rivalry erupts once again in the Masai Mara savanna. This time, a larger hyena group returns to steal a fresh kill from the dogs. African wild dogs never share their meals. They either fight or flee. They split up and chase down the hyenas. A smaller hyena is bitten repeatedly, forced to abandon the stolen meal. This time, the rightful owners reclaim their prize. After being threatened twice, the wild dogs switch tactics and attack isolated hyenas. African wild dogs excel in group endurance, shifting from defense to offense when they hold the numerical advantage. African hyenas have powerful bone-crushing jaws, but without their clan, their primary defense becomes growling to avoid direct conflict. The hyena snarls, hoping the dogs will back off, but the rising pressure pushes this predator rivalry into an endless cycle. And now, this clash will decide who truly dominates the vast savanna.
Pretty much left no evidence that a puku had ever existed.
Numbers grant confidence and tactical superiority to the wild dogs. How will 2 unlucky hyenas withstand a proactive pack? The dogs surge forward, closing the circle instantly. The hyenas fight back, but are isolated, unable to use their individual strength against overwhelming numbers. In the end, the hyenas suffer a crushing defeat, proving that in nature, numbers can be the strongest source of power. Warthog. In the savanna, wild dogs often target warthogs using terrain to dig, harass, and force them out of burrows.
I'm not gonna go down without a fight. Think it was something really...
The warthog counters with strong charges, but alone it cannot withstand coordinated pack tactics. When the dogs strike together, the outcome is decided within seconds. Wild dogs can run at nearly 50 km/h for many minutes straight, making them terrifying predators for any prey that can't escape quickly. Though they've secured the warthog, the hunt isn't over, because ahead awaits a far more stubborn opponent. Baboons. After their victory over the warthog, the dogs grow bolder, closing in on a troop of baboons. But baboons are no simple prey. The dominant male has canines up to 5 centimeters long, sharper and stronger than those of a lioness, making him a living shield for the troop. One step forward from him is enough to halt the dogs entirely. This time, the wild dog's pack strategies fail to break through such solid defense. Unable to find an opening, the dogs retreat in frustration. But this failure only fuels their hunger, and the next encounter comes sooner than they expect. Buffalo. After an unsuccessful clash with the baboons, the wild dogs grow more desperate. Their next target is a lone Cape buffalo. A few buffalo from the herd stomp, lowering their heads in threat, but with too few numbers and similar risk, they abandon their companion. Their disadvantage in weight makes buffalo far slower than wild dogs, allowing the pack to wear it down inside the encirclement with no chance of escape. Completely isolated, the buffalo collapses quickly. Once again, brute strength alone cannot prevail over coordinated pack tactics. Buck? A male buck is spotted by the pack right at the water's edge. It lowers its horns, trying to maintain distance, but the dogs close in from all angles, tightening the circle. The spot where the buck stands makes danger lurk both from land and water. The buck's horns can deliver bone-breaking hits, so the dogs avoid frontal attacks, instead striking from multiple angles to destabilize it. A crocodile bursts upward, clamping onto its body. For the first time, the wild dogs lose their kill right before their eyes. A young buck follows fresh tracks in the mud, approaching the riverbank in search of its father. It doesn't realize wild dogs hunt in this very area. One dog closes in, grabbing the buck's hind leg, adding weight and draining its strength. A buck's ear contains the vestibular system for balance. A single strong tug from the dog can disorient it, making it lose footing in the water. And on that same riverbank, more confrontations await any unfortunate creature that wanders too close. Antelope. Still in that riverbed this time, it's an antelope struggling through the muddy water, but blocked by snarls surrounding it. African wild dogs have a success rate nearing 80%, among the highest across the savanna. But today, that chance vanishes as hyenas arrive in greater numbers to reclaim the hunt. The antelope fights desperately, but the hyena's speed and steel-trap jaws quickly drain its strength. They drag it ashore, turning the kill into a chaotic feast under the dusty red sunset. After many losses, the hyenas finally taste victory once again. The 88 moments just now not only leave a strong impression, but also show the grim balance in nature. For venomous snakes, venom and adaptability are the keys to maintaining existence, whether facing prey or their own kind. That is part of the evolutionary law, where only the fittest individuals continue to exist. If you find this video worth watching, please hit like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel to continue accompanying other dramatic wild compilations. Thank you for watching until the end. See you again in the next journey of the natural world.